Hey everybody, A Thorn for your heart here, ready to show you another tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to consist around this teddy bunny. We are pretty much going to make this bunny into a backpack to sit on the back of a Neverwinter Nights 2 model. We're going to take a human female model for this backpack. We're going to place it in Blender. The cloak model, we are going to replace the cloak with the backpack, let it sit on the back, weight it to the back, and go ahead and export it into the toolset to preview it in game. This tutorial is going to be fairly quick and pretty simple. There's no rigorous weighting and rigging to going to none of that's going to happen here. It's going to be pretty simple. So with that being said, let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to close this out first. That is the bunny we'll be using. I've already opened up my tool set, and I've already placed the cloak here on the ground. If all goes well in this tutorial, you should be seeing it in a few minutes after we edit the blend file. So the first thing I did was I went ahead and I placed a generic cloak, a vanilla cloak that I grabbed from my data files. From the Neverwinter Nights 2 vanilla files. I grabbed PHHF CL Cloak 09. Didn't bother grabbing the textures because that won't matter. What does matter is just having the model. So to begin, we are going to go to open up Blender and head down to File, Import, Neverwinter Nights 2, and let's find that cloak. In my case, I have it in Override Demo Cloak, and it's right here. Now I'll click it, but I also want to make sure I click Remove Doubles. Normally, for most things, outfits, helmets, and the like, you would click Find an Armature simply because you want to the plugin, the Neverwinter Nights 2 MDB plugin, to find the correct armature that goes with that that model, that skeleton that goes to the mesh. Now, the cloak itself, however, does not use a generic PHHF skeleton or an HHM skeleton or any regular GR2 in that case. It uses its own, which I believe it's a cloak one. We'll know when I open it. What I'm going to do now is I am going to click Find an Armature, and you'll see exactly what I mean. So I'm going to click Find an Armature, and when I open up the cloak, you're going to notice it pulls in all of these files here. And it doesn't pull in a skeleton, so none of these cloaks are tied to a skeleton. Now, early on, when I first started doing cloaks, probably one of the first things I started doing as a creator is I would constantly wonder why my cloaks weren't showing up. And it was simply because I was clicking this option on import, so I was not able to tie my cloak down to its weights to a skeleton, simply because there needs to be a skeleton within the scene in order to tie it to. Because if I were to go to armature and I try to add something, nothing pops up because there's nothing in the scene. And you can go and create your own skeleton, but that would be fruitless. It would not give you any good results, and it'd be pointless in the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to File, New. I'm going to start over. Okay, I'm going to go to File, Import, Neverwinter Nights 2. I'm going to go back to where I had that cloak, and usually save your last position, recent right here. I'm going to click it again. I'm going to click Remove Doubles, and I'm not going to click Find an Armature. Now, the reason I want to do that is because it will automatically pull the armature within the actual model itself and not replace it with something that it can't find, because if it can't find it, it's going to say there's nothing there. And the plugin, the MDB plugin, can only find so much armature, so much skeletons. This is also important if you are importing anything other than a player model. Example, if you are pulling in a goblinoid, or if you're pulling in some sort of troll or an ogre or a dragon, you want to make sure that you don't have this click, because it does not register within the MDB plugin, so therefore it will automatically erase it. That doesn't make sense. This is an easier way of showing you. I'm just going to double click now, and as we can see, it's pulled everything in from the previous import, except now we have a skeleton, P_HHF Capewing_Skell. Now, that's a skeleton. You can't see it here because the plugin doesn't. It's not able to replicate the actual skeleton itself, as far as I understand. But it is there. So now, when we click our skeleton and we go to our mesh and we go to armature, we have something to tie it off to, which is important because in order for our cloak to show, the weights to show, we have to have a skeleton present in the scene. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and clean up these LO2 files and LO1 files. We don't need them. I'm going to delete them. Okay, and we're not going to need this as well, but we're going to keep it for now because what I want to do is I want to use it as my reference. Now, before we begin, one other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to import a skeleton from our actual plugin. Now, considering you have the NWN2 MDB plugin installed, I see no reason not to. You should be able to just go to File, Append, and it'll automatically append from the plugin itself. Because the plugin is actually installed within the program, so it'll find it within itself. This should be the first thing you see if you have the plugin installed. And you want to append a skeleton. Now it's offering you different types. In this case, we're going to pull the PHHF skeleton. And now it pulled it in. The only reason we're going to use this skeleton is for reference only. We are not going to do anything else with it, just use it for reference. Then in the end, we are eventually going to delete it. So let's go ahead and lock it in place by clicking the arrow here. Okay, and we can go into the skeleton, and we are going to turn off, we're going to go into our data here, and we're going to turn off names, so it doesn't interfere with what we do. Now, pretty much this skeleton is the same as this, except that this gives us a visual reference, this one does not. So we're just using this as a visual reference, okay? That being done, I'm going to go ahead and shut off the cloak, and now we have pretty much an empty template to work off of. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and pull in that teddy bear, because that teddy bear will be our backpack. So I'm going to import, and the file that it is, it's in an XNLA XAS format, XPS. This is a plugin. There are many XPS and XNA LoRa models available online. You can find them. They're already pre-converted. Some of them are already rigged, some are not. And pretty much it's just a plugin. You can also find the plugin online. If you just searching around, you'll find the plugin. Hopefully I can get those links for you and just put them in the chart and give all the credits to where credits are due. But for the sake of making this tutorial quick, let's just jump right into it. I'm going to go to File, Import, XNA LoRa XPS. It's a plugin, as I stated. And I'm going to go ahead and click, and I'm going to make sure I take off colorized meshes. What that does simply, it just when it imports, it gives each object within the mesh a different color. And sometimes that's distracting because it also colors the material, and it's just easier not to deal with it. So that being said, I'm going to go back to my cloak model. I placed that teddy bear file right here in a folder with the same one as I have the cloak. I'm going to go into teddy bear. I'm going to click XPS, and there's our teddy bear. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete the armature that it comes in. It's just pretty much this teddy bear is weighted. It has one weight, and all of the weights are tied to the armature. We don't need the armature, so let's delete it. Keep in mind that if you decide, I'm going to undo, if you decide to move the teddy bear around on its own, and then make all these edits, and in the end, eventually attempt to delete your armature, it's going to reset it, the teddy bear back to where it was. Now, in this case, it didn't do that because I'm just realizing it wasn't tied down to the armature, which is a good thing. In most cases, that would actually, it would reset back to 0. In this case, it did not because I haven't even looked at the weights, and apparently it's not tied down to the armature. All right, that being said, it's simple. Grab the teddy bear, hit G, and just place it on the back, just like so. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and tilt a little bit, and there's our backpack. It's as simple as that. All right, now I'm just gonna bring it down a little bit because I don't want it tugging the back of the head. If you look here, this is where pretty much the hair model comes and the ponytail comes out for hairs that have that ponytail. This is the neck. You can kind of see how it's holding up there. So press G, bring that back in here. Okay, and we can just test it as we go. Now, once we got it in place, we can go ahead and view it from the front by pressing 1, or from the back. And we can bring it up, maybe G, and then lock it on the Z axis by pressing Z. Bring it up a little bit if you'd like. Up to you. Press 3. Now, if we notice, there's kind of a bend here, and we'll need to also bend the teddy bear, because even though it shows the model at this angle, it doesn't actually rest at this angle. The body kind of rests forward a little bit, and that's all because of this bone right here, and I believe that's the rib bone. So if I were to go back into the armature and I turn back on names, this is the rib bone, and that's the bone we're going to tie all the weights to this bone. So when this bone moves forward, this will move with it in game. So when he's running, this only moves if the ribs move. We don't want it tied to any other bone unless you have a specific result you're trying to achieve. In this case, we are not. So now that that's done, I've just placed it simply there. I'm going to go back into the 24 Kuma, and I'm going to change the bones here. If you don't have any weights, say for example you didn't have one, just push plus here to create a vertex group. We're going to name it ribs to match that bone name. Oops, ribs, just to match this bone name, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and select the actual backpack, press tab, and select all by pressing A and click assign. Now we've assigned everything that we've selected to that vertex group, to that bone, to that rib. So this is assigned here and is assigned to the rib bone. Now, it's technically not assigned yet because we haven't assigned it the armature. So right now it's just, all it knows is it's tied to a ribs vertex group. We're going to assign that vertex group to this bone. To do that, we simply go to add modifier and we choose our cape wing, not HHF scale. Like I said, this was just used for visual reference. We're going to tie it to cape wing, and as I always do, I copy the name and I paste it here, but I do not apply. Keep it there. Okay, now that we've done that, we can go ahead and I'm going to steal the name of this cloak by copying it, highlighting it, press Ctrl C. Okay, this is going to be an override. Now, if you want to rename the cloak off to cloak 200, you can do that yourself. You just got to make sure the name matches in the properties down here. In this case, I'm just going to copy this over, then I'm going to delete it, and then I'm going to paste it over here. And now this took over the name of the HHF cloak. I'm going to go as I always do and do my checks. Does it have an armature? Yes, it does. Mesh. Does the mesh match the object? No, it does not. Fix it. And if you get this 001, fix it again. You got to make sure you don't have that 001, because even though they're using the same name, that's giving it an instance, which in turn does not reflect the same name, so it won't read in the actual game. All right. Jumping on to material. Does the material match the object? No, it does not. Same thing. Control V to paste. If you've somehow lost what you've copied, just go and copy again. Control V. And if you look, you probably have the 001. You just can't see it here. Yes, you do. So paste it again. All right. And so what that does is that gives it the primary cloak 09 texture or material. And let's go ahead and fix our textures. In this case, this is all based on what you're trying to do. In this case, I know what I'm doing. So I just have my diffuse map here and I have my normal map. The other two maps I deleted were not there when the game was created. For the actual game it was taken out of, that's what they were used for. In this case, Neverwinter Nights 2 has no need for an illumination map and for a specularity map, whereas the specularity would be within the normal map of the alpha channel anyway. Or the alpha channel of the normal map. Okay, so that being said, just gonna go do my checks one more time. Armature check. Mesh, name matches, check. Object, name matches, check. And textures are set. This thing is ready for export. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to delete the HHF skeleton. We don't need it, it's just gonna cause clutter in our file. And this is all we need. So we're gonna go to File, Export, Neverwinter Nights 2. We are going to smooth the TS seams and do an alpha test. This is neither a head, so we're not going to click that or anything like that. Don't need cutscenes, anything like that. Just those two should apply. I have it under cloak, and I'm going to override my original HHF cloak. Double click, and it should save out. Now when I go into my tool set, I should refresh the cloak. And given that it's on male, I'm going to switch over to female because it is a female version. Okay, 1 second. Delete this. And sometimes the toolset can be wonky. Sometimes you'll have to reset all the way and restart the toolset. Sometimes you don't. As you can see, mine's having some trouble with just loading. It's been doing that recently. I may have to restart. So let's go ahead and fix that. I'm gonna go ahead and restart my toolset. Good old toolset. Okay, I am back. I had to restart my toolset. Anybody who's worked in the toolset for more than a day would understand that happens almost all the time. Toolsets, love them. Well, this toolset. Anyways, continuing on, we're almost done. I'm just going to go ahead and I restarted. What I did is I looked over a cloak. I typed in cloak. I found the cloak that's easily suitable for any but low level to wear because I'm going to take it into the game. I'm going to pick a low level character. Don't want any prerequisites to interfere with me getting the cloak on. In this case, I just chose nymph cloak +1. I made a blueprint out of it, and what I did is I just went into it, and by default, of course, it's tailored to the human male. And don't tell me it's doing it again. Okay, there we go. Okay, and I'm just gonna change it to show as female. There we go. And I'm gonna switch it down to 8, I believe, because if the cloak was cloak 9, then it should show as cloak. What's going on here? There we go. Not sure why it did that. And there's our bunny. So there's our bunny backpack. And now that we have it tied, see, as you can see, when the ribs move in the model itself. Now, if we look at it from the same angle, we had the rib. It was showing it going backward, but really it goes forward because the rib by default sits backward, but the model itself, their stance, is at a lean forward. Now, this is pretty much where it's at now. If we were to go back into the file, and if we were to move this at an angle, say, let's see, it looks good, to be honest, but maybe we'll pick it up a little bit just to show the change. So I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna go ahead and undo a few steps just to have that skeleton back, and I'm gonna bring this up by pressing G, and then lock it in on the Z axis, and bring it up just a little bit more, maybe right there. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and delete that skeleton. This should already be set still. Nothing should have changed. And nothing has changed. Go to File, Export, Neverwinter Nights 2. Everything should still be selected here if you're within the same blend scene. Cloak, and override the HHF Cloak 09. Okay, bring that down. And I'm just going to simply, hopefully it doesn't crash it by restarting it. Okay, I'm going to click Show as Male and Female, and there we go. See how we picked it up just a little bit more. Now, just to get it in game, we're going to try it. We're going to place it here right between our 2 armored guardian trolls. Okay, right here should be fine. And then I'm going to go ahead and save, and I'm going to close out the toolset. It's going to prompt me. I always click yes anyway, just in case that first save had a streak of bad luck and did not save. I'm going to close that out, and we're going to go into the game and test it. So Neverwinter Nights 2 Platinum. Platinum, baby. Alright, so here we go. Boot up. I believe this is using the, this is not using the client extension. At least this version. Okay, so I'm gonna go to new game, new module. That module that I had was called Zombies. It was called Zombies for its own reason. I was testing out some zombie models that I was working on. Cleaned it out for the sake of this tutorial. So, I'm going to go to select character. And I'm just going to select anyone. Somebody that can wear a cloak, obviously. Well, let's go choose something that doesn't have that's not heavy on it's not wearing a cloak type outfit. That should be good. No, it's a gnome. Sorcerer, no, they're wearing cloaks. Well, we can just disrobe. Okay, so let's go ahead and just bridge it here and then go into game. Shouldn't have taken that long to choose. Oh, she's not wearing a cloak. Good. Or a robe. Alright, so here we go. We're actually in game now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rotate around here and come in and pick up this unidentified cloak. Please don't tell me I gotta identify it. Oh, I can identify it. Thank God she's a bard. Okay, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the cloak on, and voila! We have our little cute bunny, and we can run around with our bunny. This is a very, very powerful bunny, by the way. In lore, bunny backpack is actually a bag of holding, and if you toss the bunny, it conjures a giant evil rabbit that comes out and does things. It's very, very hidden lore. You'd have to dig deep into Candlekeep forums in order to read about it. But yeah, there's our bunny. So there we go. Oops. Okay, everybody, thanks a lot, and hopefully this tutorial helps you. Now, keep in mind, you can also create a backpack. This is just a bunny, but if you had a backpack model, if you had a book, a giant book, or anything you want to put on the back, that's how you do it. That's just how you tie it to the back. This does not work for capes that way. Actual cloaks and capes work a different way, but this is just for creating anything in the backpack. You can make a rucksack and put it back there. You can put a big giant scroll. You can have them carrying a giant water bottle for all you, if that's your thing. I don't know, there's different servers have different things, so your choice. But yeah, there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial.